welcome to World Today. It has been a week that saw the biggest surprise from India when Prime Minister Narendra Modi revived SAARC in wake of the coronavirus pandemic. How important is it for the world to come together in this fight against COVID-19 when countries like Italy are facing their worst nightmare is what we'll focus this week. Also, an exclusive report on Indian fishermen languishing in Pakistan. But first up, the headlines. The deadly coronavirus has not dampened the spirit of Italians who continue to fight on with great courage and sacrifice. Rita, Indian ambassador to Italy, speaks exclusively to India today about the challenges faced by the mission in the evacuation of Indians from Italy. India chaired a meeting of the SAARC nations spelling out its mantra to defeat COVID-19. Prepare, do not panic, is Prime Minister Modi's clarion call to all nations.
Do not panic has been our guiding mantra.
And in a World Today exclusive, we tell you how Indian and Pakistani fishermen pay a heavy price for strained relations between the two countries. The big story this week, we have been reporting on COVID-19 and how it has impacted businesses and economy the world over. But the humanitarian cost has been devastating. While China is slowly recovering from the worst crisis that they have witnessed in recent history, Italy is still trying to grapple with this crippling bio-war. A battle that has seen many sacrifices and many acts of bravery. Here's a report.
If this is the Third World War, then the human race is battling it out with their spirit as the weapon. Italy has been on the brink of absolute shutdown as the worst COVID-19 affected European nation and the most affected, with the numbers crossing China's death toll.
It is better to stay back at home. Our future and the future of Italy is in our hands. That is why our hands have to be more responsible today. Everyone has to do their part.
With death toll going over 3,400, the entire country is in mourning. There have been obituaries in local newspapers that span more than 10 pages. Speaking of the hard choices that hospitals and doctors across the country have had to make.
Life. We always, have to make the decision whenever we are called to see a critical patient, whether that patient can benefit or not. I'm afraid that if it keeps going like this, we will get to the point where the number of beds will not be enough for the number of patients. And so in that case, we will have to prioritize those patients who with the highest chances of surviving.
Lonely streets and long queues at the grocery stores with people maintaining a safe distance was a sight they never would have imagined 2 weeks ago. Even the Vatican, that welcomes tens of thousands of visitors at the St. Peter's Square at daily basis, wears a haunted look. The traditional Easter's gathering on April 12 has been cancelled.
I don't doubt that this virus is causing victims, and the main problem is that we don't have enough beds in the hospitals and rest of the business is suffering. I have a shop here which is now destroyed.
But that has not dampened the spirit of the people, the community solidarity of battling out this pandemic. In an endeavour to prevent the spread, Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte has announced a few stringent measures, placing its 60 million residents under lockdown with all businesses shut, barring grocery stores, banks and pharmacies. Officially, what began with one 38-year-old being detected as coronavirus positive spread like wildfire since it remained undetected for a significant period of time. In less than a month, Italy went from only 3 cases to the highest number of deaths outside China. The number of cases rose by 50% on March 8th alone, with an average mortality rate of 4%. Began on 20th February, when a COVID-19 positive patient checked himself into a local hospital in the town of Codogno in Lombardy. He tested positive with the virus, becoming the first recorded patient with COVID-19 virus in Italy. The first case was detected very late. China has reported the virus to WHO infected throughout all 20 regions of the country. The number of cases rose by 50% on March 8th alone. Italy also faces an above-average mortality rate of 4%. While the government has not specified how long the ban will last, it says it will remain in place until April 3rd. Italy is fighting the pandemic on a war footing, but it will take a lot more than a country fighting it alone. It needs support from the international community and the WHO. With scores of foreign nationals, including Indians, stranded in Italy, it is time for a concentrated international action rather than the blame game that has already begun between the world superpowers, United States and China.
Here's the World Today exclusive. Even as the world is reeling under the coronavirus pandemic, the death toll in Italy has surpassed even China, making it the epicenter of the pandemic. Even for India, Iran and Italy have been two countries where the missions have been toiling to get the Indians to safety. On Spotlight this week is the Indian ambassador to Italy to share the efforts put in by her and her mission in carrying out the Herculean task. Many thanks for joining us over here, Ambassador Rita Sandhu. What has the coordination been between your mission, New Delhi headquarters here, and the Foreign Office in Italy to ensure Indians and particularly students from India return home safely?
Thank you, Geeta. It's a pleasure to join you. Ever since the outbreak of the coronavirus in Italy, we have been in touch with the Indian community and also the various student groups, as we have a large number of students that are spread across Italy but largely concentrated in and around Milan and in and around Rome. So our effort has been to keep in touch with them, to assure them and to provide them any kind of help or support that they needed. I must say that it has been extremely important, the support and the help that we got from the Ministry of External Affairs, from the Ministry of Health in India, from the Italian authorities, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as well as Health and Civil Protection, which is the coordinator for this crisis. We were able to get a medical team from India last week who came to Rome and took around 380 swabs back to India for testing. And I'm very happy to say that the tests have come, and now we move to the next step, which is of trying to arrange for the safe return of those students who have tested negative.
Ambassador Sandhu, it has been a Herculean task. Like we've been saying, the mission has done a lot of work. But in a lockdown situation, what has been the procedure that the mission has had to follow to ensure that Indians come home or are safe in Italy?
So Geeta, within the limited resources that the embassy has and the current environment here with the lockdown in Italy, the embassy has tried its best to help the students in the best way possible. There have been times when students didn't have a place to stay, or there was they were stranded at the airport and we had to bring a few of them and put them in a hotel. We are very happy that now this flight will be coming as announced by the Ministry of External Affairs, and we would be able to take the students back.
Ambassador Sandhu, wishing you and all the staff working under you on the front line health and safety. Many thanks for joining us here on World Today. Europe is reeling under the impact of the virus, with borders shutting down and economy being deeply impacted. Leaders of the EU are taking tough but important decisions, keeping the humanitarian aspects in mind. Take a look at news on COVID-19 from across other parts of the world. French President Emmanuel Macron ordered a nationwide lockdown requiring people to remain in their homes and only go out for bare essentials like groceries, medicine and to work. New evidence from Europe and US suggests that even the youth are getting extremely sick from coronavirus. US President Donald Trump defends his use of the term Chinese virus or China virus to describe the coronavirus, saying it's not racist at all. He reiterated that calling the virus China virus is appropriate because it originated in Wuhan, China. This after Beijing expelled 3 American journalists from major news outlets working out of Beijing. Spain's civil guard received donations of gloves, masks and hand sanitizers from Chinese citizens all over Spain. Police say they will transfer the donations to hospitals treating patients with COVID-19. Death toll in Iran surges past 1,000 from the coronavirus. New satellite images show mass burials in the Qom area due to the growing numbers of coronavirus cases in the country. Meanwhile, US announced expansion of sanctions on Iran as well as on entities that aided the Iranian government in its trade in petrochemicals and other restricted activities. Now here's the big India initiative. SARC was dying a slow death since 2016 after the terror attacks by Pakistan on India. From talks and terror cannot go together, Prime Minister Narendra Modi decided to call on this South Asia grouping to fight the menace of coronavirus. A message that in times of such health emergencies, cooperation is far more important than isolation.
Prepare, but do not panic has been our guiding mantra.
Neighborhood first, taking that policy forward. In a first-of-its-kind video conference, SAARC nations came together under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chart out a strategy for the region to fight the coronavirus pandemic. All SAARC nations were represented at the head of state or head of government level, barring Pakistan. Imran Khan decided to give the conference a miss and sent the state minister instead, Dr. Zafar Mirza. While all the leaders focused on giving ideas to battle the crisis before it hits the region with one of the largest density of population, Pakistan stuck to its old trick of raising Kashmir.
In this regard, let me say that it is a matter of concern that COVID-19 has been reported from Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And in view of the health emergency, it is imperative that all lockdown in the disputed territory must be lifted immediately. Opening up communications and movement would facilitate dissemination of information, allow distribution of medical supplies, and enable containment and relief efforts to proceed unimpeded.
One that did not go down well with many, calling Pakistan immature and churlish.
एक humanitarian platform था.
Pakistan misused the SAARC platform.
But in the larger context, the meeting enabled leaders to share assessments of the current situation relating to this pandemic, consider best practices and identify cooperative measures and approaches for each country to minimize and mitigate the spread of the disease while averting public panic and minimizing possible economic impacts. India pledged $10 million for a corpus that would be created to fund such medical exigencies for SAARC nations.
I propose we create a COVID-19 emergency fund. This could be based on voluntary contributions from all of us. India can start with an initial offer of $10 million for this fund.
India also offered to deploy its specially constituted rapid response teams of medical and other professionals and testing equipment to any SAARC partner country. Support was also offered for capacity building, including through online training modules, establishment of a repository of best practices of dealing with COVID-19 at SAARC Disaster Management Center, and a website with information in each of the SAARC languages. India also offered to share its software for integrated health information for disease surveillance.
First of all, I thank Prime Minister Modi for taking this initiative.
While Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina hailed Prime Minister Modi's initiative, Maldives and Sri Lanka specifically mentioned how the economies were affected by the tourism industry taking a hit. Their foreign exchange had dropped. These are destinations that survive on tourism industry and have been a major tourist destination for the Chinese. For now, a decision has been taken to move forward with SAARC on the issue of health. But India has not forgotten Uri, Pathankot, or for that matter, the dastardly attack in Pulwama. Till the time Pakistan does not mend its ways, a real revival of the SAARC is going to remain a distant possibility. Bureau Report, India Today.
Slipping into a short break, on the other side, we'll bring you an exclusive report on the status of Indian fishermen in Pakistan. Stay with us. Welcome back to World Today, where we bring you stories that are important but go unreported. This is an exclusive report on how fishermen of India and Pakistan have to pay a heavy price because of the strained ties between the two nations. Proving citizenship becomes harder than you can imagine if the state on the other side of the border is not friendly. Take a look.
The biggest casualty in the Indo-Pak conflict has always been people. The cost on humans and their daily lives, particularly these fishermen who get caught by either side and languish in prisons beyond the required time. No empathy and little concern shown to the families back home who run from pillar to post to get their loved ones back.
We
received no news about him after he was arrested. I appeal to the government to help us. We want to bring him back.
An RTI filed by activist Jatin Desai revealed that 98 fishermen are still waiting for the Indian authorities to confirm their citizenship, while their families back home have been approaching the government to bring them.
We have been demanding that nationality must be confirmed within 3 months of the consular access. And at the same time, both the governments need to be sensitive to the fishing community. Both the governments, we plead to both the government that they must release all the fishermen, because none of the fishermen has been so far found involved in any illegal activities.
India and Pakistan on every 1st of January and 1st of July exchange lists of civilian prisoners and fishermen in their custody. This year, India handed over a list of 267 Pakistan civilian prisoners and 99 fishermen to Pakistan, who are in India. Similarly, Pakistan has shared list of 55 Indian civilians and 227 fishermen in their custody.
Fishermen have been languishing in Pakistani jails. Nobody has been released in last 3 years. I request the government to do something.
For the civilians on both sides, consular access must be given within 3 months of their capture or arrest, but the RTI reply indicates that it is not implemented as per the bilateral agreement. In fact, of the 227 on the list, 100 of them are still waiting for consular access way beyond the 3-month stipulated period. And of the 127 fishermen who have got consular access, India could confirm nationality of only 49. 20 of the 49 have been repatriated. In such dire circumstances, much is needed to be done when it comes to humanitarian aspects of ties, even with difficult neighbors.
Hanks, Rita Wilson, Rudy Gobert. The list goes on and spills over to this week as well. Let's take a look at who from the celebrities were caught in the corona web.
Lockdowns, isolation and quarantine. A glimpse of what has become the new normal these days. The virus COVID-19 makes no distinction. All age groups, all economic backgrounds, not even the rich and famous. It may spare none. Hollywood actor Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson tested positive for the virus. They remained in isolation for a while, but were later discharged after treatment. The British actor Idris Elba was also found positive for COVID-19. He currently remains in isolation. The Game of Thrones actor Christopher Give tested positive, and he too remains in self-isolation at home. Olga Kurylenko from Quantum of Solace was also found infected with the coronavirus. The actress, in her Instagram post, said that she had been ill for a week before detection and is currently locked up at home. The pandemic has not even spared politicians. UK Health Minister, the Iranian Vice President, Iran's Deputy Health Minister, top aide to Brazilian President. These are just a few who have tested positive for the virus. Italy, the worst affected country by pandemic after China, saw the recent case of footballer Paulo Dybala being diagnosed positive for the virus. NBA player Rudy Gobert has also paid for his careless attitude. Rudy had triggered criticism after he was seen touching microphones at a media event in an attempt to downplay the virus impact, but was later found to be positive. Rudy later issued a public apology and wished he would have taken it seriously.
I wish I would have took this thing more seriously, and I hope everyone else is going to do so, because we can do it together.
As the world continues to grapple with the virus, one thing is proved clear: no matter who you are and no matter what you do, you are not immune. So be responsible, self-isolate and stay safe. Bureau Report, India Today TV.
That's all in this episode of World Today, but before I go, I leave you with these wise words from an Italian granny. The do's and don'ts to avoid the deadly virus. Listen and follow. Goodbye.
Numero 1, dovete lavare le mani. E che è una novità? Quante volte ve l'ho detto io? Se lavate le mani? No, perché c'è il coronavirus. Per sempre. Se lavate le mani, andate a lavare. Secondo consiglio, quando starnutite, dovete starnutire nel gomito. Non è coronavirus, educazione. E mettevo il ginocchio davanti, è più figo. Perché potete fare... Acciun! Ui, com'è figo? Lo starnuto che me ne frega? Acciun! Terzo consiglio, dobbiamo evitare baci e abbracci, perché hanno detto è pericoloso. E noi che potremmo fare? Quando ci vediamo, facciamo l'occhiolino. Zia Maria! E non ci tocchiamo. Hai mangiato, bella nonna? Come stai sciupato?
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.